Good evening. Everybody hear me okay? Broke it. That's Betty again. I'm sorry. Good to see everybody here this evening. Tonight we're kicking off our summer series on Wednesday nights, and so our first speaker of the summer is Brett McCaslin, and we all know Brett. He is actually the full-time preacher at the Colonies in Amarillo, Colonies Church of Christ. And on top of that, we kind of know him more so through Key to the Kingdom. So this congregation is instrumental in supporting that work through prayer and through financial support. But Brett is here primarily to give us a report on Key to the Kingdom tonight, and we're excited to hear from you, and welcome back to Sunray. So. Okay. Oh, can't hear? Okay. Sorry. Yeah, this is a hearing device, Brett.
It's good to be back in Sunray this evening. I think everybody can hear all right. I appreciate the invitation to be here. I was available tonight, and it just worked out on about a 3-week notice, I think, so that turned out well. I always have to begin by saying how grateful I am on behalf of the work in India, of the partnership that we share with Key to the Kingdom. Thank you so very much for the monthly support that you give. It just goes a long way. And I want to talk a little bit about that in the time that we have together this evening. In the past, I have given a report and shown some pictures in regards to the actual teaching, the ministry that goes on, and I did that last September on a Sunday night when I came. I have not been back to India since. The plan is probably for me to go in January of this year. So it'll be another 6 or 7 months before I go. So I don't have a lot of new pictures to show you. However, I've got some good stories to tell you. And that's always good, isn't it? So I'm going to take a little bit different approach tonight, but I think it will give us some insight perhaps to some things I haven't had the opportunity to share in the past. And hopefully it will give you a deeper appreciation for the people of India, for the work that we together are doing there, and you can see a different aspect and see better how it all fits together. So, with that in mind, we'll go through some slides tonight in a PowerPoint. I've called it the Sights and Sounds of India. 1947, India became a state, breaking off from Pakistan. And even to this day, Pakistan and India have a great deal of animosity toward each other. The Muslim people live primarily in Pakistan, India, the Hindu people. There's some overlap, but that basically is the divide. And when they became an independent state, it was just kind of arbitrarily broken in two. It divided families, it divided cities, Pakistan and India. It was a big deal, a major uprising. And even to this day, they cannot agree on the time. It's 7 o'clock here tonight. In India, it is 5:30 tomorrow morning. It's 10.5-hour difference, but in Pakistan, it's 10-hour difference. It's a 30-minute difference. They so hate each other. The animosity is that they can't even have the same time frame, the same time zone. It's a crazy deal. The current population of India, 1.44 million people. They are the largest nation in this world. That's a lot of people. China, they overtook China last year. They are, I checked these numbers today, 1,425,000,000 people. You compare that to the third most populated nation in the world, the United States. We are at 341 million as of today. I'm sure that's changed a little bit in the last 6 hours. But that tells you what you've got in India, the people there. India produces twice as much cotton as the United States. Isn't that interesting? It's the Why motorbikes? Well, people can't afford cars in India, number one. And they're much easier to maneuver and to get around in all of the streets and all the traffic. And we'll show you some pictures of that, even a video toward the end of our presentation tonight. One traffic death every 3.5 minutes. I think that's underrated. I think it's probably more than that. But that's the figures they show. 1,100 people per square mile in India. You compare that to the United States, 100 people per square mile. In Sunray, it's about 14 people a square mile. I don't know. But you can tell the difference. 10 times. The density of the people in India is just amazing. You look at the births and the deaths in India compared to the United States, it's amazing. You can read those numbers for yourself there. What does it say? 32% of the population lives in villages, cities. 2/3 of the population lives in villages. A village is anything less than 50,000 people. Okay, that's lots of villages, right? 10 of the 50 most populated cities in all the world are in India. Think about that for a minute. But only 32% of the population of India lives in a city. So most of the people live out in the country in villages, but still you got 10 of the largest cities in the world living in a city. That's hard to fathom. We work in and out of the city called Hyderabad. It's a city of about 11 million people. It dovetails into a place called Secunderabad, which adds another several million to that. So you're looking at 13, 14 million people. And that's where our office is. That's where the TV broadcast originates. The median age in India is 26 years, and America is 37 years, 11 years. Why? People in India die quicker than in America, I guess we could say, because the living conditions are so hard in India. It's so difficult. We have it so good compared to places like that. Their growth accounts for 20% of the entire world growth. The world is now over 7 billion people, approaching 8 billion people. And all that growth, 20% of it is in India proper. And you've got about 195 million undernourished people in India. People, that's a big deal. And this mission work of Key to the Kingdom is all about helping those people, sharing the gospel with those people, ministering to their needs, helping them with prayer halls, church buildings, feeding the people who are hungry. India has the largest democracy in the world, the postal system, which do not trust the postal system in India. It's a bad thing. I've had that firsthand experience. The largest television audience in the world. That's the number one reason why we are in India in the first place. We're broadcasting on television 2 times every week to a potential audience of 30 million people. Largest TV audience in the world. Therefore, the largest response of any nation in the world. It's led by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who is, I think he's a bad dude. They run the BP party, and it's not a good thing. He is a hardline Hindu, and the conflict is not necessarily between Muslim and Hindu in India, but it's the hardline Hindu against everybody else who's not one. And so Prime Minister Modi has what I would call his little fingers out there, his henchmen, and they're going to persecute and get people back to Hinduism at most any cost. And when I am there, I'm more concerned about that than I am dealing with the Muslim people. And there's no doubt stories I could share along that line. This is a picture of what I look like as I'm about to get on Air Emirates to fly. This was back in 22. I went by myself that year because we're coming out of COVID. It was the first time I had a chance to go back to India after not being there for the 2 previous years. When you get there, that's looking out 8 floors up over the city of Hyderabad. Any direction you look, I said it's like 11 million people. As far as you can see, that direction, it looks just like that. Buildings, people, everywhere. That is Jonathan Ratnam. I've introduced him to you before. He's the one who coordinates and oversees all of the work that we do in India. I work with him on a monthly basis, weekly basis, whatever it is. And it is a 20-year relationship that I've had with him. He's 42 years old. He's worked for Key of the Kingdom. He's very talented, very gifted, speaks 3 languages, business degrees. He knows preaching. He's a great preacher. And I pay him, I overpay Jonathan at $500 a month. That's his going rate. He could make more elsewhere, but he's so devoted to the cause and loves his people, he wants to share the gospel with them. That's his family. His wife, there in the pink, his mother, and then their 3 children. This is Chinny. He's our driver. That is the lotus flower. That is the national flower of India. Sights and sounds of India. I'm telling you things you didn't know, probably. Lots of people just try to get by. That is a common way to get around. He's pulling a cart with some goods there in the back. Just like this man, those 3-wheel bicycles are used everywhere. That's probably either some rice or some concrete. I think he's a worker out in the fields, probably is what he's doing. They do a lot of farming. Of course, you got the rice, you got the cotton, they're growing tea. Mahindra tractors are a big deal. I have seen some John Deere dealerships outside of Hyderabad, India. It's amazing. But the Mahindra are the more popular ones. Those are the ones that get out in the rice fields and dig it up in the water. Those tractors will get down and they just stir up the dirt, the mud, so they can plant the rice plants. But that's kind of what the farming system looks like. People traveling on a goods carrier, they are, you can see up at the very top something white. That's an image. That is a plaster of Paris god that they're going to worship. That image, they're taking it to the next place where they'll set it up and everybody comes to worship. This is called a 3-wheeler. Taxi is what the locals call it. And the question is, how many people can fit into one? I've seen as many as 15 in one of these. And the sign on each one says no more than 3. On all of these 3-wheelers, no more than 3, including the driver. So I took the pictures. They were stopped beside the road. I took it from the backside, and then I took it looking inside. I think there's at least 12 that I found in this 3-wheeler. And you can see there's 4 right there, and she's holding her goods, and then they've got the X seat, which there'll probably at least 5, and kids are sitting on the lap, and then you've got people in the front driving, and there'd be 3 at least there and there. It's crazy. That's where people live. They live at the edge of the rice farm that they're working. They're called coolie workers. That's their home. Where are you going to sleep tonight? Probably not something like that. Lots of scooters, and that is a typical thing. That girl is old enough to hang on to the dad from behind. I see very few helmets. Bicycles, there's 3 people on a bicycle, sometimes 4. This is what we would say roadside stop, restroom. What do you call those? Rest area. And these are just now being built in the last several years. They did not have any as you travel the highways. So, well, you can run that out yourself, can't you? When they need to stop, then there you go. They're using these. A man is sitting there. He charges people to walk in and out. I walk around it. I don't want to go in there because it's worse than out there. You know what I mean? So I did. We stopped here a couple of years ago because, well, yeah, that's one way to get around in India. I have ridden a camel. That was in downtown Hyderabad, India. You can just imagine all the people stopping to take pictures of a Caucasian guy in India riding a camel. That was so cool. I wrote it down, wrote it back about 2 blocks, and the guy was saying, okay, getting him down is going to cost 50 cents to get on to ride. When I got back, Jonathan said, okay, put him down so Brett can get off. Okay, that'd be $5. And they started arguing. I just said, deal with it. I got in the van and let Jonathan deal with him. He ended up paying him 50 cents. But they're just going to take advantage of you. But yeah, I wanted to get down, but we're not going to pay $5 to get down. I'd jump before that. Beautiful sunsets in India. Beautiful area. Look at those sunsets. There's the rice fields. That picture I showed you of the rest area, right behind it, I saw probably 10 or 12 women working the rice fields, which you see there. And I had some rupees in my pocket. Rupees, they come in 100, look like a $100 bill. But 100 rupee is worth about $1.25. And I had some. I thought, I'm just going to go and bless these people. So I run out there and had 2 or 3 guys with me. And I just started waving, and they all just stopped what they were doing. They came to me, and I just started giving 100 rupee to everybody who came. Well, the man who was overseeing the work, he's sitting up there watching all of the women only, stop and get money. So he immediately trickles down over here like, what are you doing? Who are you? I make sure he gets some money too. And I'm just giving them money because they will make less than $1.25 for their day's worth of work. So I basically doubled their salary where they could have a little bit better meal that night when they went home. I was just trying to bless people. And just, there's opportunities like that everywhere you go. You got rice field in the foreground. What's that in the background? Anybody guess? What? Cotton. So I walked out in there. Nice cotton plants. Looked pretty good to me. This was in the end of August, 1st of September. So they're growing rice and cotton right there together, and those cotton plants were, as you can see, right up here. What do we say? Second largest producer of cotton in the world, I think. So I love to see that kind of agriculture over there. When I was there this past September, driving down the highway, we had stopped and got some refreshment, and getting in the van to drive again, I looked back and I saw that. Can you tell what that is? Looks like with big orange eyeballs. Well, I said, let's just sit here. So it passed us, and then that's the backside of it. Anybody take a guess? That is a cotton trailer. That thing is loaded full of cotton. They have harvested it, they stuff it in that, they put it on a trailer, and they haul it down the road. A little bit different than our cotton trailers here, right? But isn't that interesting? They farm cotton, they farm rice, they farm all that, just like we do. But it looks different. I thought that was interesting. People ask me, in fact, I was asked tonight, where do you stay when you're there? I'm not going to be ashamed to say this. When I go, I stay in a nice place at the beginning of the trip and at the end of the trip. Because I know I have to get my rest and I have to eat good, because I will be out working in the field, in the bush, in the villages where there's very little to eat, and that's why I take my granola bars and my beef jerky with me to survive. It's not a clean place where I stay out in the villages. It's pretty rough. So I make sure that my health is good. I take good rest in a motel like this, and then I do the same after I do a week and a half worth of work before I come back home. This is called the Taj Krishna. It's really nice. It's like a 5-star hotel. Costs $100 a night. $100 a night. Well, we spend more at that at Motel 6 sometimes, probably. And so it's a nice place. I'm just telling you the truth. I'm being very open tonight about this. And I take walks around this. It's a real nice area. It's beautiful because it's wet. They got rain. They take care of these nice places. There's a swimming pool. I met up with this guy who works as a security guard. And then I saw him the next day. I had gone out for a run, some exercise, and I said, "Can I take your picture?" And he told me yes. And, "Do you have a family?" "Yes, I have a wife and 2 children. "How much money do you make?" He said, "I make about 20,000 rupee. You figure that all up. He works 50 plus hours a week, 6 days a week. He makes about $1.15 an hour as a security guard, either outside or here inside at the elevator. I gave him some money. He sure did appreciate that. The next time I went, I found the same man, and he just came up and hugged me. A world of poverty, 10,000 miles from here. That is what we would call a toot and totem. That's where you go in and buy some snacks, something to drink, some vegetables. You get breakfast. And these guys over here to the right, those are my guys. They're the driver, and then 2 of our workers, and then there they are. B. Prashant, he's praying for breakfast. I don't know what that is. I did not eat it. I had my granola bar. After they did that, we're kind of going around the area called Suryapet, where the school is, and we stopped in at the coffee shop. This is like the donut stop in Amarillo, where you go get coffee. Blue Sea Cafe, went in there. Chai tea is wonderful in India. I love their chai tea. And so we had a coffee break about 11 o'clock one morning. And there I am drinking, you see right there in the corner. They put in those little cups, and I just sipped that. And it's either 11 o'clock in the morning or about 3 or 4 in the afternoon. Everybody in all of India shuts down, and you drink tea in the afternoon. And that's what it looks like. They also have McDonald's. You can go in there and get 2 meals, a sandwich, drink, fries, a drink, and a sundae for $5. In here, in America costs what, $10 to get all that, at least. They have Baskin Robbins. I make sure I get at least one Baskin Robbins per trip, and whoever's with me, and that's for the Indian guys. They don't do that unless I'm there. They can't afford it. But I can get 6 guys Baskin Robbins for $20. But that's what they live on right there. White rice. They go through 50 pounds of dry white rice daily. That's what they eat. That's the basics of what we feed the people in the care center. We have 30 elderly people who live in the care center. We feed up to 50 people every day in the Hope Feeding Center. And they survive on white rice. Most of them will eat white rice at least twice daily. And lots of diabetics in India, as you could imagine. They add a little bit of vegetables and dal, gravy is what we would call it. Very rarely will you get anything like chicken. That's the specialty. Mostly it's white rice and dal. The women sit there, cut up the vegetables, cook them. That's what we serve. Jonathan did have an ox killed, and we had a big event where the distributing the sewing machines and the bicycles to everybody. We'd serve 250 people, and he had an ox, and I ate ox and potatoes is what they call them, and vegetables. And this was, I think, about 2 years ago, and there's still some right there stuck in my tooth. That is some tough ox. And I smiled and I ate my part, but thank you, Jonathan, I don't need any more. One of my enjoyable things was when I was able to just be and people come, and I would take the big spoon, you can see the big spoon, and I'd put on a big old ladle of rice, and they just hold it and just smile. So I'd put another one on. They'd hold it and just smile, and they would want like 3 scoops of rice. And it's just, it was a very humbling experience for me to do that. You've seen pictures like that in India, right? Telecommunications, that's real. That's what you see everywhere. I think I've shown this picture to you before. It's the monkey god, Hanuman, 140 feet tall. He is the largest freestanding idol in all of Southeast Asia. And he's on the highway between Vijayawada and Hyderabad. So every time we're there, I stop, take a picture. Whoever's with me, we go, we look, we walk through the grounds, and I tell them, India is the most religious nation in the world, represented by something like this. They have hundreds and thousands of gods and deities that they worship, but we are here to tell them about one God. And so I try to make that analogy and show them the contrast. There's a doctor who has come to help our clinic at Syria Pet. I made sure I see him, I give him a gift. I visited one of our preachers. He's in the blue shirt. The wife and the son are there. He has some heart problems, had some heart surgery, a couple $1,000 for heart surgery. And he doesn't have any money, so he stays in the open air ward like this. There's no rooms. It's just a big ward that people stay in. The men stay here. The women stay in another one just down the way. And that's what it looks like. So there's probably, I'm going to say, 20 men here, and that's where he lays, and they tend to him, and he eats rice 3 times a day, right there, and they give him heart surgery. I'll just let that lie, and you can think about how blessed we are. Pigs eating the trash. The ox on the road. Monkeys everywhere. Driving down the road, you see these monkeys. And then we're driving down the road, and we see, I say they are goats. Jonathan says they are sheep. We have a going feud, continual feud going on. In America, we would call them goats. They look like goats. He said, no, they got shiny skin. That means they're sheep. So it's kind of a fun game we play. You see the driver, I'm in the back seat, I always ride in the back seat. I can't stand the traffic up front. So the driver, he's always honking the horn. Always honking the horn. And so they're driving, this is the middle of the highway. And you got the herd just right there in the middle of the highway. So we wait, and they kind of get them over here to one side, and then we drive around and keep going. And that's the way they herd their goats or sheep. I'm standing outside of the motel, and there's about 4 lanes of traffic. You can see it's going to come this direction. But the 4 lanes of traffic really have about 8 different vehicles traveling. I'm walking on the sidewalk, and it's so crowded, they get up on the sidewalk and go around me and then get back in the traffic. When you're out on the roads, if somebody's going too slow, that they will begin to pass. And then, somebody else is passing. Oh, so they're going to pass a second one. And I've been down in the bar ditch over here going the other direction, passing 2 vehicles, and we get back in line, and here comes a truck, and we miss it by 4 feet. If I'm lying, I'm dying. That is the honest truth. Watch these pictures. I'm just taking one after another. Watch how it all comes together here. Here comes all the people. Here's the traffic. The light turned green. And this is a mild day, but they're just zooming past as fast as they can go. I have a video I want to play. All the motorbikes. Yep. Watch this video here. Example. The worst job in India would be... See that ambulance? You see anybody getting out of his way? No. We're stuck in traffic. Look at that traffic. Hardly moving. It's a little bit rainy. They said, well, that's kind of a traffic jam, a little bit rainy and wet outside. I don't think you'd see that in Sunray, I'm guessing. So I just stuck my phone out the window and just take it off. There goes the freeway. But, you know, that's like a 2-lane road, right? Back and forth. But you got 4 lanes of traffic. Okay, let's go back to that PowerPoint. Gives you a pretty good idea of it, doesn't it? The sights and sounds of India. We've been working in India for 20 years. I think I may have shown these figures to you last time I was here. But the television broadcasting 2 times weekly, I mentioned that. We've given out 100,000 Bibles, 20,000 baptisms in 20 years, 17,000 disciples. That means we baptize people in America. How many do we see the next Sunday? Yeah, same way here. You got 17,000 disciples, which means if all the support quits from America and they're on their own, they're committed to the Lord. They're not just baptized and go down the road. We're making disciples. We're not just baptizing people. We're making committed disciples. We work with some 900 preachers. We have trained and placed 150 elders in over 200 congregations. The yates, I explained that last year. That is, you know, the commandment to go and make disciples of all nations. All Nations is a yate. It is a group of people who have never before heard the gospel message. And we have taken the gospel to 175 different individual groups of people who speak a different language, a tribal group who's never before heard the gospel message. That's a yate in the Indian language. We house the elderly people. I've shared the other things. See 600 people a month at the clinic and given out over 500 bicycles and 500 sewing machines. That's what you do in India, making a difference. And we build 2 prayer halls every year. A prayer hall is a church building. And we have built, I think, about 15 of those since we've been working. And those are vitally important to the Indians. It gives them a place to worship instead of in a palm tree. It gives them credibility within their village to say, they're legitimate, let's go over there and worship. It's a gathering place for the people in the community, in the villages. And those are really a big deal. That's the India traffic that we showed. I want to tell you this story right quick. We have a medical van. We bought it 10 years back. And it's used to go out into the village and to set up a pharmaceutical camp for people who cannot get into Syria Pet and to the clinic that we have there. We take preachers with us. We preach. We minister to them. There's baptisms. There's teaching. We help them with their medicinal needs. We come back home. We've had it for 10 years. The 12th of May, the 10th of May, right before Mother's Day, I got word from Jonathan. They're driving down the highway in that medical van right there. The windstorm hits it. There's 9 guys in this van. It's top heavy. It blows it over. It's destroyed. That's what it looks like. Our men were thankfully okay. No major problems, bumps and bruises. The body shop and the insurance will give us less than $1,000 total for that van. Right now, Jonathan's going to take a bus back and forth from Hyderabad to Syria Pet to do work. I put out a letter to everyone who donates, and you will get a letter this week if you haven't already gotten one. And when I got the word, it really touched me, because you've seen the traffic. You see what I drive in and what these every day. For over 20 years, God has blessed us with no except for 1 or 2 small issues with motorbikes. 900 preachers working with us. This was the first major accident in the destroyer. And it was simply be thankful. You never know what's going to happen on the roads that we travel. And how God has blessed our work so richly, and all of a sudden this was kind of like a wake-up call for me. And yeah, we've got to replace that van. If people want to help, that's fine. It's going to cost about $25,000 or $30,000 to replace that. That's the van they used to go out and check on all the different preachers all around the 150 of where we were. But that sure made me think. And some people have given, some churches have given. They see the need, and the Lord will provide what's needed to replace that van. But I just wanted to share that with some of my loyal supporters for you to consider at some point. That's, I guess, the main need that we have right now. In churches, and people ask me, what is your major need right now? Well, that's it. We got to replace that thing. Jonathan's looking for one. We'll make a deal on one. We'll get one purchased, and we'll pay for it somehow, and the Lord will provide. I I didn't leave a whole lot of time for questions or comments, but are there some? From anybody? I think the last clip is, it's over. It's the Key to the Kingdom slide again, so I'm done. Give me some questions, feedback from any of this. We got about 3 minutes. Yes, sir. Yes. Jonathan messed up his knee. He's had an MRI on it. He's doing some therapy. None of our guys were hurt beyond that. So that's okay. Very easy to have lost blood. I saw the van. It had gone into the bar ditch. It rolled. All of the windows were shot out of it, and all 9 of them went there. They're so tightly packed in there they couldn't get it. We would have 4 people such a thing.
So the TV broadcast, twice a week, broadcasts are going out, and those, and people are responding to those.
Yes.
And then, so tell us how those are handled, how are requests handled?
We have up to 700 responses, and that's a request for a Bible and or Bible study. And we receive those. We have an office in Hyderabad. We have about 8 guys who go out and distribute those. They take boxes of 40 Bibles apiece, go to the village and work with the local preacher. And through that teaching and that discipling and training, we baptize about 500 people. No, excuse me. We give out 500 Bibles a month. We baptize about 800 people a year. So that's the main way that we get access to all the people who are wanting to hear the gospel, the TV broadcast. And I'm the personality on there, but they do some of the preaching as well. It's a shared deal. So the staff will allow you to write? Yes, as long as I don't run down Hinduism or Muslim. I just preach the gospel. They just preach the gospel. And we're okay. And I check with the TV manager at the station every year. And I just make sure that we're still doing what we need to do and everything's okay, and it is. So that's where it all comes from. And then from there, we help and we build church buildings and we do the medicinal work and the ministries. Good question. What else? I think so. The overseeing eldership in Kansas, one of the elders, he's been there once. He'd like to go back again before his visa expires. So I think I'll probably take him in January. And then I may make another trip or 2. My visa runs out in 27. And they are not reissuing many visas. So I hope to have a pretty good feel of the work and transitioning all the work back to them by 27, when would be my last trip. That was the second bell. We're going to pray and take a break. Dear God in heaven, thank you so very much for the opportunity to be here tonight. Thank you for this good church. They help, they support, they love the mission in India, and I'm thankful for that. And thank you for the partnership that we share. And may all of the good, the prayers, the financial support be blessed. May all of that bring about many souls in your kingdom. May it bless those who are struggling in so many ways. God, I thank you for our partnership. Thank you for your mission in this world and the privilege we have to be a part of it. In Jesus' name, amen. Thank you. Okay.
We have a few announcements to make, and then we'll have our devotional time. Want to remind everyone about the Second Sunday Fellowship, which is coming this Sunday, and Brothers Keepers Group 6 will have set up, and remember that. If you would like to host our summer intern, Jackson, for an evening meal, there's a sign-up sheet. Is that? No, it's gone. Okay, it's in the office. But you can let the office know if you would like to. There are just a few dates, and they're Tuesdays, but one of them will be gone. So you have to call the office, and Beth will give you the dates. Anyway, do we still need a driver, one driver for VBS trailers? Yeah, so we still needed one driver for the VBS trailers to go pick the kids up. Please see Matt if you're able to drive some or all of the nights. We need cookies for VBS for next Friday night, and if you'd like to provide some, please have them to the building by next Wednesday, a week from tonight. No peanut butter and no nuts. Anything else? Just no peanut butter and no nuts. Okay. And then on Sunday night after services, we're going to need some help decorating for VBS Sunday night, and we could use as much help as we can get to make it go as quickly as possible. Okay, any other announcements? Donnie Helton had his heart cat. He's getting ready to need stents. He needs 2 stents, and he's going to find out more tomorrow, correct? Okay, there you go.
I've been told to wait until there we go, we got the slides. Alrighty, song number 541, Blessed Assurance. Blessed assurance, Jesus is mine. Oh, what a foretaste of glory divine. Heir of salvation, purchase of God, born of his Spirit, washed in his blood. This is my story, this is my song, praising my Savior all the day long. This is my story, this is my song, praising my Savior all the day long. Perfect submission, perfect delight, visions of rapture now burst on my side. Angels descending, ring from above, echoes of mercy, whispers of love. This is my story, this is my song, praising my Savior all the day long. This is my story, this is my song, praising my Savior all the day long. Perfect submission, all is at rest. I in my Savior am happy and blessed, watching and waiting, looking above, filled with his goodness, lost in his love. This is my story, this is my song, praising my Savior all the day long. This is my story, this is my song, praising my Savior all the day long.
Sure is good to see a young man up here leading, singing. You got 20 youth here. That's awesome. And mamas and daddies and grandparents are to be commended for something like this. The teachers, this is super. That's just great. Keep on learning, keep on. This is the future of the church. And I know these people are going to love you and help. Good to see all of you tonight. Enjoy your camp sessions and all summer. Verse 35 reads like this. The kingdom. Vast and helpless like sheep without a shepherd. His disciples, the harvest is full, but the laborers are few. Pray for the God to send forth workers. In Scripture, I think about the work we do in India. I think about what we're trying to accomplish by going into the towns and villages, and you saw the pictures and you heard the stories. We're teaching people in the walls. We are proclaiming the good news of the kingdom on